If there's one thing we've learned about business and life, it's that people are the X factor. They constantly surprise us, both in amazing ways and not so much. We're Ben and Syya, and welcome to the Gnaw on This Business Bites podcast. This show is all about real life things we all deal with every day, how they relate to business, and how to make some sense out of our daily chaos. Welcome to the show. And welcome back to another episode of Gnaw on This Business Bites. I'm Ben. This is Syya. Now, we got to get back to the world of AI because you know what? It's the two letters that are on top of everybody's mind these days, so we might as well do another episode on this. I saw a great cartoon the other day, and Sya's going to put it in the notes. And what it is this one person that said, I was able to get AI to write this cool email for me, and it was really neat. And the next panel is their person looking at it going, and says, somebody gave me this email, and it was really, really long, and I used AI to shorten it to make it more concise. Okay. I forget who said it, but I love the line. I think it's Mark Twain that says this, if I had more time, I would have written a shorter essay.
Yes.
AI is a tool. We need to have the fact that we are wagging the dog's tail and it's not wagging our tail. We need to realize that AI does what we ask it to do. And if all we're doing is getting it to try to think for us, it can't. It doesn't think for us. It thinks in the extrapolation. It thinks in the aggregate. It thinks to the medium. It thinks to the banal. And when you ask it to sit there and write me an email on this, well, there might be one good line. There might be two good lines out of there. But read the thing carefully. Would you send that out as is to a group of people you've never met before and expect these people to be impressed with you? Or are they just going to sit there and say, oh, God, another generic email that came out the door? So, Syya, let's gnaw on this.
So I'm going to piss off some people. I'm going to say it.
Go ahead.
So LinkedIn particularly is all about being authentic. Be who you are, because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. Well, what does that even statement mean anymore in the day of people putting, AI generated images of themselves and then in the comment or the post talking about authenticity and being real, but using an AI generated image, right? I know quite a few people. But
their posts are all AI generated as well.
Well, and that goes back to, okay, so do business with people you know, like, and trust. Do you know anyone anymore? And here's the even sadder part. Do you even know yourself? Because if you cannot articulate words that are coming out of your mouth in a way that is who you are, and you got to rely on a tool for, let me be clear, social media, you kind of want to be who you are. Email, I get it. If it is a proper legal setting, for example, I could see why maybe you use a little chat GPT action to make sure you got the terminology, a little bit massaged and correct, just to validate what you're saying, not replace what you're fracking saying.
But if it's legal, you better go check with a lawyer in the end to make sure. Go check with a lawyer. Yes, it's going to cost you money, but you're not going to get your butt sued.
ChatGPT is not a freaking lawyer, people. Now, granted, it'll look, it's a tool. I get it, but I see too many people. They're like, I see people selling on LinkedIn, for example, and online and all that. Automate your social media posts, automate your social media comments, automate your emails. It's like, at what point now what we're doing is sanctioning chatbot. We're sanctioning chatbot from being a reactive to, I'm going to a website. Hi, how may I help you? To, no, everyone's just going to be chatbotting back and forth. And what are we doing? What are we doing then if we're not replying back to this stuff? Like I'm starting to get louder and I'm moving away from the microphone because I am just, why are we taking the communication out of human, like, communication?
Well, social media is about social things. Let me put a caveat out here, first of all. I've been in the technology game for over 30 years. Syya, maybe not quite as long, but pretty darn close. Because you're younger and
Thanks,
cuter.
buddy.
You're younger and cuter than I am. So,
I'm not that much younger, but
well, you
thanks,
are, but
buddy.
you're younger. But here's the situation. I am not against technology.
No,
I
I'm
am
not either.
absolutely not
Yeah.
against. I'm not against AI. I use ChatGPT. I use other AI mediums all the time. I say, give me 10 ideas for for articles or for subjects on this. And we'll sit there and we'll look at them and we'll say, hey, I like this one. I like this one. I don't like this one. I don't like this one. Wait a second, that's kind of cool, but let's modify it this way. And what we're doing is we're using it as a prompt. Write me an email that talks about this. Great. Okay, now let's actually read that email and sit there and say, how do I humanize it? How do I turn it into something that actually I'm proud of signing my name to and sending it out? And when I'm doing it, I'm actually putting a human face on it. There's nothing wrong with it being a prompt, being a starter, something that gets you going in the first place. But if you're taking it, 100% and just cut, copy, throw it into the LinkedIn, throw it into the email, throw it into whatever, and then just sending it out, you're doing yourself, your customer, and the whole process a huge disservice.
Dude, there's a reason why literature exists, because
Yes.
the author is speaking from their prose, their word, whatever we call it. Someone help me with the English.
From
There.
their
Audience, help me.
from their experience, from their point of view,
Perspective,
their perspective,
their voice. It truly is their voice, right?
It is.
And it is a little cumbersome for me to see so many great people who have wonderful voices mute themselves and just literally make themselves boring and vanilla. Like, why do you want to be bland? Be you, be bold, be who you are, warts and all.
Yes.
Yeah, I worry that for those that have good intentions with using these types of AI type platforms, I get it. There's some people I know who have high anxiety. Like, the idea of doing any of this stuff freaks them out, and I get that. I
Mm-hmm.
get that. But then that tells me is, okay, maybe there are techniques to do this in a way that will not give you high pressure. Meaning, maybe start writing posts that is heartfelt to you with zero intention of posting them until you collect, or which it's basically the written version of batch recording, until you have 15 of something, and then you can start scheduling them out accordingly. And now there's no anxiety to post because you've done the work ahead
Right.
of time. You're disassociating your thoughts and sentiments to the comments, or posts or whatever. And we're talking from social media perspective. Email, okay? Obviously, exchanging email is a form of communication to me. I mean, look, I'm not going to lie. That second half of this cartoon that, we've been like flashing back and forth. I like the idea of taking someone's long-winded, and don't get me wrong, I love you, but sometimes, like, you write a
TLDR.
lot. I love you, but sometimes it's really long, especially on the phone. I'm like, okay.
Uh-huh.
So I could see where they're in business. Maybe you just need that executive button summary. I get it. It's not to say don't read it. It's just saying sometimes I need a TLDR line. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Just to get it. But again, yeah, it does bother me if that first panel bothers me. That's the one I don't like. I can see the second one.
But here's the thing. Great writing is not about how smart you have to sound. It's not about using $20 words. It's not about how verbose you need to be. It's how succinct you can be. How elegant, succinct, and to the point, and how can you get the person on the other side of the conversation to understand, adopt, and be compelled to engage? And if you can say it in 30 words, why say it in 200? Because I'll guarantee you, if you're someone like me, I skim 90% of the text that's given to me. 90% of it, I'll read the first paragraph, I'll skim it, and I'll read the last paragraph. And guess what? 99 times out of 100, I've gotten the gist of what's really important. And I'm in communication, but I find that the vast majority of time, people, because they throw it into these AI generation, they're trying to sound smart, they're trying to sound sophisticated, they're trying to elevate the conversation, but all they're doing is they're confusing things.
It sounds like literally what we're doing is the modern day version of when we were kids in 6th grade and we looked up a thesaurus and used words that we had no business using, that hasn't existed in 100 years. And every teacher knew it was a giveaway. Like we knew, like we all know. I mean, come
Absolutely.
on. Like, hey, whippersnapper, let's talk about this. When's the last time you used whippersnapper? I don't know. I mean, come on, guys. And by the way, I actually use whippersnapper like weekly. But anyway, I'm bringing that word back.
I think it's a good word to bring it back.
I do. I think it's a lovely word.
Back to the AI and the AI conversation. It's that use it with a purpose. Use it with a reason. Use it to elevate yourself, your conversation, your point of view, to make a point, to engage people, to make the conversation better. Great. I love it all. But to get there and to usurp your own ideas through the banality of the ChatGPT universe, you're doing yourself, you're doing your customer, your prospect, whoever you're communicating with, a complete disservice. As you said, you're not being yourself, you're not being authentic. And the question is, when this person finally comes and meets you and you start talking like yourself, because you don't have an AI generator can generate the conversation for you, all of a sudden your brand has been thrown to hell, because how you sound online is not how you sound in person. How you act online is not how you act in person. And when there's a discongruency, there's another $10 word, it leads to people not trusting you.
100%. 100%. Because what else are you hiding? What else are you, I hate to say it, what are you ashamed of something? Is that why you're blocking and hiding? Like, what is it that, you're not proud of? I am proud of all my mistakes, young man.
That's
Everyone
good.
knows
I've got
it.
lots of warts, lots of scars, and you know what? I show them all proudly.
It's who you are.
It is.
And if people don't like it, not your tribe.
Exactly. So let's leave it there. I think that's, to not overbeat a point, to sit there and say AI is a tool, like a computer's a tool, like a hammer's a tool, like a brick is a tool. A brick in the hands of a mason builds cathedrals. A brick in the hands of someone like me builds an uneven and wobbly wall. So figure it out. It's your capability to utilize a tool to enhance the level of conversation and enhance what you're trying to do, not giving yourself over to the tool and blaming it when all of a sudden the things don't turn out the way you want.
100%.
So I'm Ben.
And I'm Syya.
And we'll see you soon.
Hey. Thanks for listening to another episode of Not On This, Business Bites. If you liked what you heard, we most humbly ask that you like, share, and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to communicate more effectively within your organization, contact Ben at yourbrandmarketing.com or me at brilliantbeammedia.com. We can help you build your community, brand awareness, and personality through digital content and podcasting. We cannot wait to hear from you. So see you next week for another episode of Not On This, Business Bites.